Yeah. So, if you'll notice at the beginning here with all the knots, these spaces, it's not going to look very good to have your warp coming in like that. So what he's doing now is he's finding some scrap yarn.
I don't have a long enough piece for something this wide, so I might use this cotton yarn that I got a while back. I don't really like the texture, and it doesn't really make great warp, and it's not a really great color, so I'm just going to use that for my scrap yarn. Basically, I'm going to get a...
one of the many Walmart yarns I bought initially back in the day.
I'll wind this up. And so you start it like that. Are you watching what I'm doing?
I'm watching. You're doing a figure eight around the two things at the end, the 2 tines or whatever you call them.
And then once you have that, then you start. I usually put this on the floor right above me. Alright, so I'm right above it, I should say. And then I just wind it, and then probably...
Notice how he's got his hand in it as well. It's going around his fingers.
So it doesn't create too much tension, because if you put too much tension on the shuttle when you ride it, you'll bend it. And then it won't go through your warp bear. And if you put a lot of tension on it, you could break it, because every time you bring it around, you could be tightening it. Alright, so I probably need at least 10, right? So that's 6. Because usually you get a shuttle about the same length as your warp, a little bit under. So I'm going to need about... That's good. Let's do a couple more passes. Start here and start.
I'm gonna get like over your shoulder. Are you gonna stand up doing it, or are you gonna sit down?
I'm gonna sit down here in a second.
Okay.
I just want to check the tension, see if it needs to go a little bit tighter. It's probably good. The easiest way to warp when you don't have a stand, brace it up against the table. I don't know if you can do that very well with 32-inch warp, because it'd be like this.
Your arms weren't in that. But he just gestured very wide with his arms. So.
You're like my own YouTube content.
I know.
And you bring it down, go back. Also, you notice the longer the warp is.
You mean the wider?
The wider.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wider the warp is, the harder it will be to bring down every pass. So just be aware of that.
This is called beating it. Right?
Yep, like that.
Thanks for punching me in the stomach.
I said he beat you.
Beats me all the time. So mean.
Yes. That's what I live for.
You can see each time we do this, it flattens. It brings everything more equidistant again instead of all knotted up.
Yeah, about a couple more times and it'll be nice and light. Also, it helps to have scrap yarn at the end and the beginning, so when you're tying your knots at the end of the weave doesn't come undone. Because if you tie knots right at the end and you don't have any scrap yarn woven, it's gonna be a pain, a big pain. A couple more passes and I should be all set.
I wonder if, you know how like when there's things like the grid like that, and you watch on TV and it goes wonga wonga wonga. It's probably gonna look like that.
It's got the wonga wonga aspect.
A little bit.
Alright, so it's a little bit more. Need like one more row to finish that out, and I'll be set. It's a little bit off there. And because the thing about it is, the reason why you want it like that is because you want it all even when you start, is because one thing that the yarn does that I don't know if you notice when you're crocheting or you're knitting, is that the yarn actually starts to bind with the weft when you bring it across. Actually, these little pills, the little fibers here, will actually intertwine with the warp. And so it actually starts locking the fibers together. And so that, which adds strength to the weave, but still, interesting nevertheless. Some more scrap yarn, so I'll take that off. So I'm going to use this shuttle. Easiest way to unwind a shuttle, usually. Unless you
do that. You almost dropped it on my foot.
That's what I was aiming for.
I know. You didn't beat me enough already today, huh?
No? She deserves it.
Yeah, no, I don't. He deserves it more than I do.
Yeah, but I'm bigger than you.
Since when?
Well, okay, I'm tougher than you. How about that?
Yeah, I'm fragile. I'm a girl. I break easily.
Yes, she does.
So
I figured at 80 inches, and then I'm gonna have about 8. I'm gonna go across about 8 times. You know, you look about, this is about an inch, so that'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threads to an inch. So that means I'm gonna need about 100.
He plans in advance so he doesn't have to add more later. As
so
that's
going to be about 640 passes times 16, because that's how so 640 times 16 is what? That would be, what, 16 times 8 times 8?
He's also a mathematician.
64 times 2 to the 4, 2 to the 4, so that's 2 to 6. That'd be about 1,000, no, it'd be about 10,000 inches, something like that.
Do you need a calculator?
No, I got my brain. So, and I only have about 8,000 inches left on this spool, so I'm probably going to have to use the whole one.
I don't know how he knows this.
But, what?
He just keeps it in his mind.
I did the math earlier.
He just keeps things in his mind.
Yes.
Unlike me.
That's why
I forget things.
Well, as long as she doesn't forget that, you know, she's married to me, I guess we're still set.
You're missing. There you go.
That's because I'm concerned about your memory.
It's not that bad. Me and numbers don't get along unless they're written down somewhere and I can manipulate them, I can see them. If they're in my brain, no can do.
They're easier to move in your brain.
Look, it took like how many years for me to remember that I started college in 2001? See, I can't even remember that.
I finished college in 2000.
You're old. Alright, so I'm gonna start a new video after this because, yeah. This is like a 7-minute video of just us talking and you winding that thing up now. Okay?